Very quickly, while I have your attention, do me a favor, click the link in the comment section below. I'll tell you why, because I've got a huge announcement coming regarding something I'm launching in January. And if you want to get all the details of it, click the link down below in the comment section. You can join the priority mailing list so you can get all the details before anybody else does. And on top of that, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about that to my Instagram. So if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram, which is @Harry_TFNL. And you'll see all the good stuff regarding the big announcement pending in January. Today, we're going to be reacting to a couple of videos, which is what I eat in a day as a plus size person. Again, not my quote, their quote. As you're probably aware, many of my videos are very training focused, and I wanted to do a bit more of a nutrition focused video. I want to do a TikTok compilation, as I typically do every month. So I figured, you know what, let's bring TikTok and nutrition together and let's talk about some things, and let's talk about actually how to eat for your goals.
What I eat in a day as a fatty who works from home and sits on their butt all day. Good morning, we're having cookie crisp. Non-fat milk.
There's a big notion online that cereal is like inherently super healthy. And to be honest with you, I don't think cereal's bad, don't get me wrong. I think actually as a pre-workout snack when considering fast-acting carbohydrates and just carbohydrates in general, I think cereal is fantastic, as I'm a big believer in consuming a certain amount of carbs pre-workout just for performance benefits. But when you're looking at like micronutrient density and also just decent allocation of macronutrients, I do think there are probably better options when it comes to first meals of the day. For example, a lot of people struggle to get their protein in. One of the best ways that I've found to get my protein in is to try and get more in earlier. Because if you get to the end of the day and you've got 120 grams of protein left, you're going to have a pretty miserable meal, let's be honest. But if you can front load that protein and maybe get like a protein heavy breakfast, suddenly it makes your day a lot easier, and it also gives you that freedom to eat a lot more freely at dinner time, because you've already hit most of your protein for the day and you probably have a good chunk of calories left over, meaning you could probably have a bit more freedom when it comes to dinner.
Breakfast number 2.
In fairness, at least we are getting some protein in here. One big thing that people don't tend to realize is how quickly hidden fats can creep up on you. Ultimately, fat is the most calorie dense macronutrient, being 9 calories per gram. When you start cooking things in oil, or even just overdoing cooking sprays, or even hammering cheese and dairy products and things like that, you typically will find that fat intake will creep up on you very quickly, which in turn means your calorie intake is going to creep up very quickly too. Same thing applies here, don't get me wrong, I love a cheeky croissant, let's be honest with you. Loading that croissant up with something that's very fatty, being cheese and maybe a fatty meat, in the fact that it's also just absolutely cooked and caked in butter, being a croissant, again, you're going to find your fat intake is going to creep up very quickly, which is why actually when I work with clients, one of the big things I do is for the first week, if they feel like nutrition is something they want to focus on and kind of nail, we do an assessment week where I just ask them to eat normally, and then they just track how they eat, and we can currently see where they are to see where things need to be adjusted. I'll have an idea of where I want them to be for a food perspective, be that calories, protein, whatever it may be, but I also need to figure out where they are first so I can then get them to that desired goal in a steady and sustainable way. If they eat 30 grams of protein a day and I want them eating 150, that's too big a jump. But if I can get them from 30 to 50 for a little while, then 70, then 90, we can creep up to that point gradually. And we can identify where the kind of weak link in the chain might be. So if I see somebody who's having 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, but 200 grams of fat, for example, I can say there's something occurring here we need to figure out. Very quickly, as always, link down below in the description is a link to apply for TFNL coaching. So if you want to work with me on a one-to-one coaching basis to help you achieve your goals, whatever they may be and wherever you may be in the world, have a gander down below at the link, fill in the application form, which takes 2 minutes. I'll drop you an email. We'll hop on a free Zoom consultation call. I'll explain the process, answer any questions you may have, and then you can go away and have a little think about it to decide whether it's right for you or not. Simple as that. Again, always link down below in the description.
We got Wingstop again. Got me some little corns too. Can't forget the Diet Coke.
I think there's a big thing online saying obviously when you're trying to lose weight, whatever it may be, you can't eat out. Absolute crap. Of course you can. The two things we primarily consider when eating out or wanting to eat like a more calorie dense dinner, for example, be that going out with a partner, a friend, whatever it may be. Protein loading, so thinking about trying to get about 70% of your protein intake throughout breakfast and lunch, because then again, when it comes to dinner, as I previously mentioned, you don't really have to worry too much about protein because you're nearly there. Therefore, you have so much freedom regarding eating and still staying on track. Another thing we consider is calorie banking. So if you know you go out for dinner on Sunday night, Monday to Saturday, you might eat 200 calories less per day. Nothing crazy, or maybe do a little bit of extra cardio. That means by the time Sunday night comes along, you've banked 200 calories over 6 days, means you've banked 1,200 calories, so you have 1,200 extra calories to play with. Pair that with protein loading, You can basically eat whatever you want for dinner and actually have a great time. Again, it's about moderation. Do you have to track things this meticulously? No. I always say to clients, if you don't want to do something, we don't have to do it. If they don't feel tracking is right for them or good for them, then we don't do it. It's simple as that. I'm not here to force things on people that isn't going to help them, nor is it sustainable for them. But if they do want to do it, we figure out methods and systems in place to then allow them to balance actually having a really fun life and enjoying stuff, whilst also staying on track and achieving their goals. So having like Wingstop, for example, what you can then do is probably front load a good chunk of protein, keep calories lower throughout the day, have the Wingstop, stay within your calorie allowance, and also still smash your protein. Win-win. There are ways around things, you just have to think about it and plan ahead.
Everything I eat in a day as a fat girl who eats whatever feels right for me. For breakfast, I'm having some blueberries, wheat thins, and cheese.
I respect it. Like at the end of the day, getting some good micronutrients in there. You want to have some wheat thins and cheese? I don't really know what wheat thins are. We don't really have them here. But I assume they're wheaty and they're probably quite thin. So cool, go wild. And ultimately, I think at the end of the day, you eat for your goals. If this individual doesn't really desire losing weight and just simply wants to eat how they want to eat, go wild. Like, it's your body, your choice. You do whatever you want. I just speak about things from a fitness perspective with the idea that most people I speak to or work with either want to build muscle, get stronger, or get leaner. Those are the three common things people present to me. Is that everything? No. But more often than not, someone will say, when I say, what do you want to achieve? They'll say, I want to get stronger, I want to get leaner, I want to build some muscle. Cool. So I will speak in that context because that's probably going to appeal to my majority audience.
For lunch, I'm having Panda Express, super greens, teriyaki chicken, and honey walnut shrimp.
In fairness, it's actually a great example of actually being able to go somewhere like Panda Express and still eating on goal. You've got chicken and shrimp, which are both going to be very dense protein sources, and you're mixing it with greens, which is going to be a great source of micronutrients. Sure, someone's going to come at me in the comments saying, oh, but they're eating out, they're eating a takeaway. Life's short. Enjoy yourself. You can still enjoy life and actually find balance in the foods you eat. There is moderation. You can do both. And I think making sensible choices where you are choosing maybe protein dense options, in addition to loading up on micronutrients, things like veg, for example, where it's going to be very high volume, very low calorie, is a great idea.
I'm gonna keep it real with you guys though. I struggled really hard when I was in there whether or not to order the shrimp. And I decided, instead of restricting myself of something that I wanted and telling myself I didn't need it, I got what I wanted and told myself that I would stop and I wouldn't eat all of it at once. So this is where I'm stopping.
I rate that. I rate balance. Obviously, speaking about getting extra stuff and all the things to get extra of, getting an additional protein source is a pretty good idea in my eyes. It's not bad.
For dessert, I'm having sugar-free chocolate pudding.
I mean, fair enough. That's actually not a bad shout. I mean, you're getting additional protein and micronutrients through the leftover food, and you're having a sugar-free chocolate pudding. In fairness to you, I'll be the first to say I have a massive sweet tooth. Honestly, when I tell you, if you give me like a whole chocolate cake for like 16 people, 24 hours. Like, not joking, I've done that before. I've had a 16-man chocolate cake within 24 hours. Didn't even touch the sides. Honestly, I have a sweet tooth. So I'll be the first to tell you that a good chunk of protein puddings, the ones that are like 20 calories per, taste like arse. I'm gonna be honest with you. They taste like absolute bumhole. But there are actually some that taste pretty good. There's a brand called over here called Arla, I believe, A-R-L-A, and they actually have some decent chocolate puddings. They're like 20 grams of protein per, and I'm like, you know what? This doesn't quite taste like a Galaxy chalky pudding, but it is not bad. It's not bad. And if anyone tells you, this is one thing that gets me, when people say to you, oh, this protein bar tastes like a chocolate bar, they're lying to you. They're absolutely lying to you. Trust me, if there's one thing I know, it's chalky. And when they say it tastes like it doesn't, it's a lie. Some protein bars actually taste really good. Like, for a protein bar, they taste good. Would I rather have a chocolate bar? Absolutely. But I also understand balance, you know. Can't just have chocolate bars 20 times a day. Or maybe I can, just saying. It's about finding puddings or maybe like protein bars that you digest well. That's a big thing people neglect. And actually taste tolerable. Again, they're probably not going to taste as good as a real chocolate bar, let's be honest. And if they do, they've won. Some of them actually taste pretty good. So it's moderation, you know. I
had dinner kind of early and I'm still hungry, so I'm gonna have a mango, 2 mini cucumbers, and an egg.
Random token egg. I think eggs are fair, valid. I mean, but good. Fruit, veg, and an egg. I respect it. I mean, there's not much to say. At the end of the day, this individual actually wants to lose weight based on her hashtags here, which is calorie deficit and weight loss. And I think she's making some pretty good choices. I would say there are a couple of things you can consider, especially when looking at losing weight. One of the big things people really struggle with is volume, in the sense that they get hungry. And yes, you will be hungry during a weight loss period. That's kind of to be expected. That is normal. If anyone says you should be hungry when you're losing weight, they're lying to you and they're selling you a lie. At some point, you will be hungry. Maybe not straight away, but eventually. One thing you can do to help mitigate that is make sure you get enough volume. So things like vegetables and berries of decent volume, low calorie, and also good micronutrients. Load up on those. Another thing you can consider is swapping out your carb sources. For example, rice and pasta are very carb dense and also quite calorie dense, whereas potatoes are actually quite high in volume and not that calorie dense, and certainly nowhere near as carb dense as rice and pasta. Therefore, if I'm in a deficit, I might favor potatoes, but if I'm looking to kind of gain weight, I might favor rice and pasta. So again, you can eat according to your goals just by swapping out rice for potatoes. Simple as that. And same things with protein sources. You've got things like tofu, lentil, and all that good stuff. If you want to look at more animal-driven protein sources, you have whey protein, and whey protein is not bad for you. And people say, oh, whey protein is going to kill you. No, it's not. Just find one you can digest and find one that actually tastes okay. That's the main thing. The other thing, you also have lean meats. So instead of getting chicken thigh, you might get chicken breast because it's leaner. Instead of getting 20% fat beef mince, you might get 5% fat beef mince. Therefore less calorie dense, and therefore probably also more protein dense per calorie. You also have things like turkey, white fish. You've also got things like salmon, again a bit more calorie dense due to the additional fat, but it's also the good juicy essential fats that we kind of like and need. So again, you have options. Just identify what you would normally eat and see what lower calorie option you can swap it with. Like I said, if I had chicken thighs and rice, I might go chicken breast and potatoes. The meals are very similar, but I guarantee I've cut a good few calories whilst keeping protein bloody high and bringing my carbs down and fat down as well. Again, there are ways around it. You just have to think, what am I currently doing? What do I want to achieve? How can I alter what I'm currently doing to achieve what I want to achieve, or at least get me closer to there? And again, I always say making small sustainable changes is probably the best thing you can do. If you make massive changes, you're probably going to fail and fall off. But if you can make subtle changes to begin with that don't really feel like changes, it does make transitioning over to a weight loss period much easier, I found anyway. But again, like with all my videos, this is simply my opinion. I thought I'd try something slightly different and slightly new, just to see how people like it and just see if it helps anybody. And again, this is no judgment or shame towards any creator presented throughout this. You eat how you want to eat, it's your body, your choice. I'm just simply presenting opinions based on what I believe the majority of my audience would benefit from hearing. Click the link down below in the comment section to get on the priority list regarding the big announcement, and also follow me on Instagram too, as you'll see some good information there. But until the next one, thank you for tolerating me, thank you for tolerating my waffle about food, and thank you for tolerating the video.